Chelsea is an affluent area in central London, bounded to the south by the River Thames. Its frontage runs from Chelsea Bridge along the Chelsea Embankment, Cheyne Walk, Road and Chelsea Harbour. Its eastern boundary was once defined by the River Westbourne, which is now in a pipe above Sloane Square tube station. The modern eastern boundary is Chelsea Bridge Road and the lower half of Sloane Street, including Sloane Square. To the north and northwest, the area fades into Knightsbridge and South Kensington, but it is safe to say that the area north of King's Road as far northwest as Fulham Road is part of Chelsea. The well-known football club Chelsea F.C. is reasonably considered to be based in Chelsea, despite being located in the London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham. The district is part of the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. From 1900, and until the creation of Greater London in 1965, it formed the Metropolitan Borough of Chelsea in the County of London. The exclusivity of Chelsea as a result of its high property prices has historically resulted in the term Sloane Ranger to be used to describe its residents. From 2011, Channel 4 has broadcast a reality television show called Made in Chelsea, documenting the glitzy lives of several young people living in Chelsea. Moreover, Chelsea is home to one of the largest communities of Americans living outside of the United States, with 6.53% of Chelsea residents being born in the United States. History: the word Chelsea originates from the Old English term for landing place, on the river for chalk or limestone. The first record of the manor of Chelsea precedes the Domesday Book and records the fact that Thurstane, governor of the King's Palace during the reign of Edward the Confessor, gave the land to the abbot and convent of Westminster. Abbot Govey subsequently assigned the manor to his mother, and it passed into private ownership. The modern-day Chelsea hosted the Synod of Chelsea in 787 AD. In the ancient records, it appears as Chelcheth, which Norden, a writer of considerable note, derives from the Saxon words seal or keel, meaning coldness, and hit, meaning hithe. King Henry VIII acquired the manor of Chelsea from Lord Sandys in 1536. Chelsea Manor Street is still extant. Two of King Henry's wives, Catherine Parr and Anne of Cleves, lived in the manor house. Princess Elizabeth the future Queen Elizabeth I resided there. And Thomas More lived more or less next door at Beaufort House. In 1609 James I established a theological college, King James's College at Chelsea on the site of the future Chelsea Royal Hospital, which Charles II founded in 1682. By 1694, Chelsea always a popular location for the wealthy, and once described as a village of palaces had a population of 3,000. Even so, Chelsea remained rural and served London to the east as a market garden, a trade that continued until the 19th century development boom which caused the final absorption of the district into the metropolis. The street crossing that was known as Little Chelsea, Park Walk, linked Fulham Road to King's Road and continued to the Thames and local ferry down Lovers Lane, renamed Milman Street in the 18th century. King's Road, named for Charles II, recalls the King's private road from St James's Palace to Fulham, which was maintained until the reign of George IV. One of the more important buildings in King's Road, the former Chelsea Town Hall a fine neo-classical building contains important frescoes. Part of the building contains the Chelsea Public Library. Almost opposite stands the former Odeon Cinema, now Habitat, with its iconic four-section aid which carries high upon it a large sculptured medallion of the now almost forgotten William Freeze Green, who claimed to have invented celluloid film and cameras in the 1880s before any subsequent patents. According to Encyclopaedia Britannica, the better residential portion of Chelsea is the eastern, near Sloane Street and along the river. The western, extending north to Fulham Road, is mainly a poor quarter. This is no longer the case, although housing trusts and council property do remain. The areas to the west also attract very high prices. The memorials in the churchyard of Chelsea Old Church, near the river, illustrate much of the history of Chelsea. These include Lord and Lady Dacre, Sir John Lawrence, Lady Jane Cheyne, Francis Thomas, director of the China Porcelain Manufactory, Sir Hans Sloane, Thomas Shadwell, poet laureate. Sir Thomas More's tomb can also be found there. In 1718, the Raw Silk Company was established in Chelsea Park, with mulberry trees and a hothouse for raising silkworms. At its height in 1723, it supplied silk to Caroline of Ansbach, then Princess of Wales. Chelsea once had a reputation for the manufacture of Chelsea buns. The area is still famous for its Chelsea china ware, though the works, the Chelsea Porcelain Factory thought to be the first workshop to make porcelain in England were sold in 1769, and moved to Derby. Examples of the original Chelsea ware fetch high values. The best-known building is Chelsea Royal Hospital for Old Soldiers, set up by Charles II, and opened in 1694. The beautifully proportioned building by Christopher Wren stands in extensive grounds, where the Chelsea Flower Show is held annually. The former Duke of York's barracks off King's Road is now part of Duke of York Square, a redevelopment including shops and cafes and the site of a weekly farmers' market. The Saatchi Gallery opened in the main building in 2008. Chelsea Barracks, at the end of Lower Sloane Street, was also in use until recently, primarily by ceremonial troops of the Household Division. Situated on the Westminster side of Chelsea Bridge Road, it was bought for redevelopment by a property group from Qatar. Chelsea's modern reputation as a centre of innovation and influence originated in a period during the 19th century, when the area became a Victorian artists' colony. It became prominent once again as one of the centres of the swinging London of the 1960s, when house prices were lower than in the staid Royal Borough of Kensington. The Borough of Artists, Chelsea once had a reputation as London's Bohemian Quarter, the haunt of artists, radicals, painters and poets. Little of this seems to survive now. The comfortable squares off King's Road are homes to, amongst others, investment bankers and film stars. The Chelsea Arts Club continues in situ. However, the Chelsea College of Art and Design, originally founded in 1895 as the Chelsea School of Art, moved from Manresa Road to Pimlico in 2005. Its reputation stems from a period in the 19th century when it became a sort of Victorian artists' colony. Painters such as Dante Gabriel Rossetti, J.M.W. Turner, James McNeill Whistler, William Holman Hunt, and John Singer Sargent all lived and worked here. There was a particularly large concentration of artists in the area around Cheyne Walk and Cheyne Row, where the pre-Raphaelite movement had its heart. Chelsea was also home to writers such as George Meredith, Algernon Charles Swinburne, Leigh Hunt and Thomas Carlyle. Jonathan Swift lived in Church Lane, Richard Steele and Tobias Smollett in Monmouth House. Carlyle lived for 47 years at No. 5 Cheyne Row. After his death, the house was bought and turned into a shrine and literary museum by the Carlyle Memorial Trust, a group formed by Leslie Stephen, father of Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf set her 1919 novel Night and Day in Chelsea, where Mrs. Hilbery has a Cheyne Walk home. In a curious book, Bohemia in London by Arthur Ransom, which is a partly fictional account of his early years in London, published in 1907 when he was 23, there are some fascinating, rather over-romanticized accounts of Bohemian goings-on in the quarter. The American artist Pamela Coleman Smith, the designer of A. E. Waite's tarot card pack and a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, features as Gypsy in the chapter A Chelsea Evening. A central part of Chelsea's artistic and cultural life was Chelsea Public Library, originally situated in Manresa Road. Its longest-serving member of staff was Armitage Denton, who joined in 1896 at the age of 22, and he remained there until his retirement in 1939. He was appointed chief librarian in 1929. In 1980, the building was purchased by Chelsea College of Art and Design. The Chelsea Collection is a priceless anthology of prints and pictures of old Chelsea. Begun in 1887, it contains works by artists as notable and diverse as Rossetti and Whistler. During his time at the library, Armitage Denton built the collection assiduously, so that by the time of his death in July 1949 it numbered more than 1,000 items. At the end of the 20th century, the collection totaled more than 5,000 works, and it continues to grow. The Chelsea Society, formed in 1927, remains an active amenity society concerned with preserving and advising on changes in Chelsea's built environment. Chelsea Village and Chelsea Harbour are new developments outside of Chelsea itself. Swinging Chelsea in today, Chelsea shone again, brightly but briefly, in the 1960s swinging London period and the early 1970s. The swinging 60s was defined on King's Road, which runs the length of the area. The western end of Chelsea featured boutiques Granny Takes a Trip and the Sweet Shop, the latter of which sold medieval silk velvet caftans, tabards and floor cushions, with many of the cultural cognoscenti of the time being customers, including Keith Richards, Twiggy, and many others. Chelsea at this time was home to both the Beatles, and Rolling Stones members Brian Jones, Mick Jagger, and Keith Richards. In the 1970s, the World's End area of King's Road was home to Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood's boutique Sex, and saw the birth of the British punk movement. By the late 1970s, the growing bohemian and punk population moved from Chelsea into nearby Notting Hill and further north to Camden Town, which led to rapid gentrification of the two areas, both of which remain places with a significantly high population of artists, musicians and those who work in other creative industries, particularly Camden Town. King's Road remains the major artery through Chelsea and a very busy road. Despite its continuing reputation as a shopping mecca, it is now home to many of the same shops found on other British high streets, such as Gap and McDonald's. Sloane Street is quickly catching up with Bond Street as one of London's premier shopping destinations, housing a variety of high-end fashion or jewellery boutiques such as Cartier, Tiffany & Company, Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Gucci, Harrods, Dior, Louis Vuitton, Jimmy Choo, Giorgio Armani, Yves Saint Laurent, Chanel, Valentino, Bulgari, Gianni Versace and Graf. Sports, football. Chelsea Football Club is located at Stamford Bridge on the border of Chelsea and neighbouring Fulham. As a result of Chelsea's expensive location and wealthy residents, Chelsea F.C. has the wealthiest supporters in England. The club is owned by Russian billionaire and Chelsea resident, Roman Abramovich. Its manager is Jose Copyright Mourinho, who also lives in Chelsea. Running. Chelsea Running Club is an active running club. The club caters for all levels from beginners to competitive runners. Economy. Round Hill Capital has its head office in Chelsea. Several other financial companies, including Op Capita, are based on Sloane Street, which runs from Chelsea to Knightsbridge. Geography. Notable residents. Property. Chelsea consists of two main postcodes but also includes small sections of SW1. All of Chelsea is, by definition, in the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. On the eastern side a BKC meets the Borough of the City of Westminster. This meets at Chelsea Bridge Road where the postcode is SW1W, with one side of the road being in COW and the other in a BKC. The vast majority of Chelsea lies in the prestigious SW3 postcode. The far west of Chelsea is SW10 and SW5 but due to the absence of tube coverage in large parts of the borough, most people in SW10 use Earls Court or Fulham Broadway tube stations. The most desirable part of Chelsea is around Sloane Square and Knightsbridge Tube. Around here, Chelsea meets Knightsbridge. This property market attracts considerable attention, and is a very complex market as it consists mainly of short leases under L. Cadogan as freeholder. Much of Chelsea is now viewed as a global ultra-prime residential area. Much of Chelsea and Knightsbridge is still owned by L. Cadogan, through the Cadogan Estates. Most of the property owned is in and around Cadogan Square. This has a major influence on the markets as the Earl is the freeholder and generally has no desire to sell. Although changes in legislation now mean the freeholder is obliged to sell lease extensions to a leaseholder at prices which are determined by the Leasehold Valuation Tribunal. Lord Cadogan is generally regarded as an effective and successful property developer landlord being responsible, together with his management team, for bringing all of the fashion labels to Sloane Street, and also forward-thinking developments on his own account at Duke of York Square on King's Road, at Peter Jones and on Sloane Street. The Cadogan Estate has a considerable portfolio of retail property throughout Chelsea but notably on Fulham Road, King's Road, and Sloane Street including Peter Jones, Harvey Nichols, and 12 hotels including the Cadogan Hotel. The estate maintains many of the garden squares. The area is home to several open spaces including Albert Bridge Gardens, Battersea Bridge Gardens, Chelsea Embankment Gardens, Royal Hospital Chelsea, the grounds of which are used by the annual Chelsea Flower Show and Chelsea Physic Garden. Transport. Buses. London buses serving Chelsea are, Tube and Rail. Chelsea does not currently have its own underground station, although two stations are close to the area with Sloane Square and South Kensington. The London Overground West London Line passes the western edge of Chelsea which serves the area with Imperial Wharf Railway Station at Chelsea Harbour. A Chelsea railway station previously existed on this line, located between the King's Road and the Fulham Road in neighbouring Fulham, but this was closed in 1940 following World War II bomb damage and later demolished. There is a proposal to construct a Chelsea tube station on the King's Road as part of the Crossrail 2 project. The project, run by Transport for London, has not yet been approved or funded but is at the consultation stage. According to plans published by TfL in 2008, it is envisaged that the station would be located on the Dovehouse Green area of King's Road. See also, porcelain manufacturing companies in Europe, references. Further reading, Daniel Lysons, Chelsea, Environs of London, 2, County of Middlesex, London, T. Cadella, Chelsea. Chambers' Encyclopedia. London. 1901 Findlay Muirhead, ed., Chelsea, London and its Environs, London, Macmillan and Company. OCLCA 365061 Chelsea. London. Let's Go 1998. PA 156+. OLA 24256167M external links, Chelsea, The Fascination of London by G. E. Mitton, Living Borough Euro Chelsea via articles, images and videos, Digital Public Library of America. Works related to Chelsea, London. Various dates.